So for our agenda today, we're going to do an overview about financial aid, also about how to receive financial aid, and also maintaining eligibility once you get your financial aid and how to keep that. And also on your 1UF, kind of how to view your financial aid package. So, college does cost money, and here are some of the expenses that you may occur during attending the University of Florida, like tuition fee, books, transportation, living expenses, for example, housing, and food, miscellaneous personal expenses. Of course, there may be some fees like federal student loan fees. And also there's direct costs and indirect costs for attending the university and being part of, the cost of attendance. Some direct costs may be, of course, tuition and fees, books, housing and food if you live on campus. For books, if you order books through a bookstore. Some indirect costs that the university doesn't charge you on would be technology, transportation, clothing maintenance, some personal items. And as you can see, there's a breakdown of the cost of attendance for fall and spring. And you may think, how do you pay for these expenses? So there's a few ways of paying for college. If you have Florida prepaid is something that your parents would have to purchase where it's an account that you don't have to actually do anything. It's automatic through our bursar's office. As long as you have your social security on file with our office, it automatically bills Florida prepaid. There's nothing you have to do. And you can opt out of it every term if you decide you don't want to use Florida prepaid. And then also a third party sponsor. So for a third party sponsor, there are documentations that are required to be sent to the university bursar's office, and it's due before the first week of classes. That's to let the bursar's office know, and to also to let our office know as well, that you have a third party donor and you're expecting payment from them to pay for your tuition or other expenses at the university. And then there's also online payments. So you can pay through one.uf. You can pay through an electronic check. You can also use a credit card to make payments as well. And another way you can also make payments is you can write a personal check, a cashier check, or a money order. Just make sure you do include your first and last name, your UFID, and information like your address and phone number so that we, just in case there's something that we need from you, we know how to contact you to get information. And we do not accept cash. And as you can see, the drop box, there is a drop box that you can drop off the checks if our office isn't open. It's at Kreiser Hall in the northeast corner. You can also mail a check to us if you are not on campus. Another few ways would be, of course, a financial aid package that you may get by applying through your FAFSA application. There are grants, scholarships, student employment, and student loans, which we'll get more into further in the slides. And, this may vary based on the FAFSA application and eligibility, based on the estimated family contribution based on the FAFSA application. And to keep in mind that the total aid that you will get will not exceed the cost of attendance. So some award that we want to highlight is, of course, Florida Bright Futures is one of the biggest state programs in Florida. There's two different ones that we accept. First, we'll talk about the Florida Academic Scholars. It covers 100% of tuition and fees, which is currently $212.71. And keep in mind, to be eligible for it, you do have to complete the Florida financial aid application. That's due by August 31st. So if you have not completed it, hopefully everyone has, but if you have not completed it, you do have about a week to complete it. And also keep in mind, to be eligible to receive this aid, you do have to be enrolled in at least 6 credits at the university. And the disbursement for Bright Futures always occurs after the job ad period ends. just to make sure, the courses that you're enrolled in are the courses you want to be in. And of course, this is only for Florida residents. And for renewal, you do have to maintain a 3.0 GPA, and also just make sure that you complete the credit hours that you're enrolled in. And then the second level that we accept, of course, is the Florida Medallion Scholars, also part of Bright Futures. It covers 75% of tuition fees. It's $159.53 times the amount of credits that you're enrolled in. Same exact process if you were receiving the Florida Academic Scholars, completing the Florida Financial Aid application, and being enrolled in 6 credits, disperses after drop add. But the renewal for this aid is 2.75 GPA, so it's a little bit less. But same thing though, you have to complete your credit hours enrolled. And same thing for if it was for the academic scholars or for medallion scholars, if you drop any courses after Bright Futures disbursement, you do have to repay what they paid for that course. And another financial award would be federal work study. Generally, you reward up to $1,500 a semester, so $1,500 for spring, for fall, and $1,500 for spring, so total about $3,000 for the academic year. And you must work to earn that award. So you would look for employment through jobs.uf.edu. A lot of the jobs that you'll look on that website would be on-campus jobs. And keep in mind, federal work study jobs, all the departments understand that being a student comes first, and they will work with you on your schedule. And as you can see, the minimum you'll work is about 20, the average would be about 20 hours a week you would work. And it'll be within any office within the University of Florida. And you do have to be enrolled at least 6 credits to be eligible. And it's going to also be based on your FAFSA application. And one of the great benefits of being a federal work study student, and I have experienced myself, is just building the network, understanding the university in a different level, especially if you end up finding a job, within the college that you're studying and getting your degree in. It's a great way to build your network and, get to know the professors, getting to know the administrators that work for your college. And also great flexibility because you're a federal work study student. They understand classes come first, and just giving them enough notice as well to let them know you have an exam coming up, so that maybe you won't you can't come in because you need to study for your classes. And also just a lot of experience that you'll get from working. It helps build your work experience and also just life experience in general. And then another word would be federal student loans. So students can get 2 different types of loans, which would be federal direct subsidized loan and federal direct unsubsidized loan. So for the federal direct subsidized loan, the interest rate does not accrue while you're still in school, but you do have to show financial need in order to receive that subsidized loan eligibility. But for federal direct unsubsidized loan, the interest rate does accrue while you're in school. But however, for both loans, you do not have to pay until 6 months after you graduate from college. And how you would be able to accept or to see those loans would be on your one.uf account, and you can either decline, reduce, or accept the loans. Keep in mind, if you end up declining those loans and you need the loans later on in the term, you will contact our office and we can re-add those loans for you. But in order for those loans to be dispersed to you, you have to complete the entrance counseling and the master promissory note. The entrance counseling is just information about the loan and what to expect. And the master promissory note is pretty much an agreement that you are going to pay those loans back. And you apply for those 2 entrance counseling and master promissory note through the studentaid.gov website. And then another loan is the Federal Direct Parent Plus loan. So this is different than those other 2 loans because the parent is the loan borrower. So that means that the parent has to apply on behalf of the student. That usually, is to cover the rest of the cost of attendance if those loans or other aid does not help cover the rest of your cost of attendance. Keep in mind the Federal Direct Plus loan, the low interest rate does accrue while you are in school. Um, and the parent applies through studentaid.gov and is based on credit approval. And they have to complete the master promissory note through studentaid.gov in order for us to release that aid. And another thing is definitely about scholarships. We have a great scholarship search engine, sfa.ufl.edu/search. We update this weekly. It's a great way to search for scholarships. So if you initially search for scholarships and aren't able to find any, try the next week because it gets added every week, new scholarships that we get information about. Another way is definitely contacting your college or department, seeing if they have any scholarships that maybe they haven't reported to our office, but they want to share with their students. Also, organizations within your community. There may be scholarships, within your town, city that you may be eligible for to apply. Also, your parents' employers, or if you currently work, maybe your employer may have scholarships that you can apply for that you're eligible for. And also, you can also go to, reputable scholarship search engines just to keep in mind, make sure they don't request any payment because you should not be paying to apply for scholarships. Scholarships are something that organizations want students to apply to, and it should be free. It should be free. Do not pay for any. And of course, if you were eligible and you did get any scholarships or currently have any scholarships, you definitely want to submit that to our financial aid office so we can add it to your financial aid package. You can bring that in person to S107 Kaiser Hall, or you can mail it to our address here on our slide. And receiving financial aid. So let's talk about how to receive your financial aid. Our office, UF Student Financial Aid and Scholarships, we try to offer the best and total financial aid package that we can. For fall and spring aid packages, as long as if you submitted a FAFSA application, you should have received a financial aid package by now. If you have not, definitely contact our one-stop office to see why you haven't been packaged. But all students should have been packaged by now for fall and spring. And if you're interested in taking classes in the summer, keep in mind, summer would be late spring, you would get a financial aid package. However, you must be enrolled in summer courses. So then it lets us know that you are taking classes in the summer. So kind of knowing your awards, knowing that every program has different renewal requirements. While like many scholarships, many awards can be renewed year to year, but some scholarship and grants are based on academic year and may not be offered every year. It's also important to make sure you do submit a FAFSA application to see what aid you're eligible for. And definitely, to keep something in mind is that financial aid does change after the drop add period based on your enrollment. If you're half-time, because when we offer a student aid financial aid package, it's based on full-time. However, if you end up enrolling just in half-time, your financial aid package will adjust after the drop add period. And we will notify students about those changes on their financial aid package. And then receiving financial aid. So like I stated before, disbursements begin after the drop add period of each term. And as you can see, financial aid gets applied to your college charges. However, if you end up having just, for example, if you just had Bright Futures, however, you have multiple college charges like tuition, housing, dining, books, Bright Futures will only will disperse and cover tuition, and you will have to make payments on housing, dining, and books. However, it can be the opposite. For example, you have an excess amount of financial aid and you just have a charge in terms of just tuition. So then one of those aids that you get, a scholarship or a grant, will go towards tuition, and then you'll get a disbursement of a refund for the other charges, for a refund of what you have left on your aid. And keep in mind that you definitely want to have signed up for direct deposit so that you can get your funds quicker. If you don't have direct deposit set up, it will take about 2 to 3 weeks to get a check mailed to you. It's important to have direct deposit so that it gets to you quicker, especially if you don't have any in terms of college charges like housing. You probably are living off campus then, and you need to find a way to pay for it, and you want to make sure you have direct deposits so you have time to get that aid to pay for housing off campus. Another thing is definitely making sure you budget when you get a direct deposit budget for those housing fees for every month. Yep, and keep in mind, like I said, financial aid is only used for educational expenses, as you can see listed here. And your budget for your funds is based on your full academic year, which is fall and spring. And here is more, information about, what to do when you get your financial aid. Is definitely making sure you track how much you're going to get after your financial aid disperses. Making sure that you used it wisely and spread it out the semester. Because keep in mind, you only get the refund once every semester. You don't get more refunds. And also just making sure you set financial goals so you know what to budget for. And just, make sure you do save a little bit just in case if there's any emergencies, you have some aid, some money to help cover it. But also, make sure you have a little bit of wiggle room to have money for fun. But it's important to make sure that you budget your funds for that whole academic year. And then maintaining eligibility. So maintaining eligibility, you need to make sure that you meet satisfactory academic progress. So that is, of course, having a 2.0 GPA for the whole academic year. Also, complete credit hour completion, so 67% of attempted coursework. So that means of all the courses you're taking, you have to attempt and complete 67% of those courses. And for degree completion, to complete your degree within 180 credit hours. This is more for eligibility for financial aid. Keep in mind, almost all degrees are about 120 credit hours. However, if you don't meet satisfactory academic progress, you can petition with our office. And we have our petition on our website, and there'll be information of what you'll have to do in order to complete the petition. And another thing to help maintain your eligibility is federal verification. The reason why sometimes students may get this is because it's to ensure the accuracy of your FAFSA data. So it could be several different documents that they may request, but it will be on your to-do list on your one.uf.edu account. And when you click on it, it'll send you to a ProEd link. And from there, it'll tell you exactly what those documents are that are needed to be submitted. And then once that gets processed and goes through and gets completed, and that's when we're able to provide your financial aid package. And if you have any questions about the requirements to be completed, there's the phone number for ProEd Services, and their offices are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And as you can see, that you'll need to make sure that those are completed in order to have your application go through and process to get financial aid. Right. So this is very important, making sure you fill out your FAFSA application every academic year. Whether or not you think you may need it, it's just important to make sure you have your FAFSA application so that you have that aid there just in case you do need to take out loans or if you're eligible for grants. And also, it's not just for federal aid; it may help with scholarship eligibility as well. And as you can see on the right-hand side of the dates, keep in mind, to renew for at least for 24-25 is going to be December of 2023. So that is the date you want to keep in mind, that December 2023. That's when our FAFSA application is going to open up. And also, it's important to note that things does occur because when you fill out your FAFSA application, it's 2 years prior to when you apply. So for example, 2024 to 2025, we're looking at 2022 tax information. So something to keep in mind is that things might not reflect in your current situation, current financial situation, yours or your parents, that you may want to petition. On our financial aid website, we do have a petition. It's called a financial aid revision petition that you can submit and provide documents of the current financial situation that you are in. Another thing to keep in mind is definitely that a lot of financial aid, you have to be at least 6 credits of enrollment in order to be eligible for it. And then 1.uf.edu. So we'll talk about more about 1.uf.edu and kind of how to view your financial aid package. So as you can see, 1.uf.edu is a student portal where you can view a lot of things and get a lot of information. That's where you can find and register for courses, view your grades, see your charges on your account when things are due, of course, viewing our financial aid, authorized information release. And that's if you want to authorize a parent to call on your behalf. We cannot speak to them about your account unless you give them authorization. We can speak to them in general terms, but we can't speak to them anything about your account unless you give them permission to. So you can do that on 1.uf and get authorized to release information if you want to. You do not have to. And of course, making sure you sign up for the 2-factor when you sign up, when you are logging into your 1.uf.edu account. And here's the page and the screen of 1.uf.edu when you log in. As you can see on the top left, there's action items, there's holds, to-do lists, and information. To-do lists can be several things that you may need to do in order to get, for example, verification in order to get financial aid. Holds, it depends on, it could be a past due balance hold, but when you click on it, it'll give you more information what the hold is. And of course, for the campus finances, that's information and a breakdown of your tuition statement, how much each courses cost and any fees associated with it. You can sign up for direct deposit as well. And also just view anytime financial aid disperses or anything gets paid, you can view the financial transactions there. And of course, we have our financial aid screen. As you can see that there's every academic year that you've attended the university and received financial aid, it'll be there. So you can view past financial aid packages that you received before. Of course, the most current one would be the 23-24 current academic year. And that's the financial aid package you want to view and see. And I'll show you more information about how to add non-UF scholarships. And here is the view of a financial aid package. And this is a way to show you when you're viewing it, on the top left corner, it'll have a check mark if you're making satisfactory academic progress. And as you can see, this one has a check mark, so it means they are making satisfactory academic progress. And you see they are offered a financial aid package for fall and spring, but not summer. Not summer yet because they're not enrolled in any courses in the summer. And how, like we mentioned before, how we determine satisfactory academic progress is their cumulative GPA, your credit hour completion, and of course your degree completion. And this gets updated every spring semester. So, after spring, then the next academic year, you'll be able to see if you're making satisfactory academic progress or not. And here's information about the estimated cost of attendance. This is just information about, initial cost of attendance. And, it's going to be based on your 15 credits for fall, 15 credits for spring. And not all students take 15 credits fall and 15 credits for spring. Maybe you'll take 12, maybe you'll take less than that. And this cost of attendance will change and reevaluated after the drop add period. And this will also adjust the financial aid package as well, based on how many credits you're actually enrolled in after drop add period. As you can see, the estimated family contribution is just an index number calculated by the FAFSA application, and it determines the eligibility for need-based financial aid. And here you can see the different awards that you would be offered, and if you need to take action on any of the awards. Federal work study, you do not need to take action on it because as you earn your paycheck, that number will change as you get a paycheck. For federal direct plus loan, you can't take action on it because it's a parent plus loan, so your parent has to apply for it, and it's based on credit approval. So when you take action, really, the action would be if you're wanting to take out a subsidized loan or unsubsidized loan. For grants, you do not take action. Since it's gift aid, it's offered and accepted on the account. For example, like you can see this program strategic emphasis waiver. It's gift aid. Students don't have to pay that back, so it's offered and accepted for the student automatically in the system. And here's where you would add additional aid. So this is financial aid or scholarship, sorry, that is not reported to our office yet. So you can report any scholarships that we should be expecting a check from. And when you add the additional aid, you can put, based on if it's community scholarship, an athletic scholarship, a religious scholarship, a foundation scholarship, and then you would just indicate how much you would be getting. And it's important to make sure that you report this before the semester begins so that we reward you the most accurate financial aid package. Right, so that's the end of the slides. Does anyone have any questions? So I see the question about how to get the permit to apply for work study jobs. So you actually you should be able to just provide a screenshot of your financial aid package. As long as it indicates federal work study, they will accept it.